Hello everyone. I am Manjiri Kalyankar, Assistant Professor from Rajghat Institute of Management Research and Development, Pune. I again welcome you all for today's session of MBA Semester 3, Course 301 Strategic Management, Unit 1 Understanding Strategy, Part 3. Contents. As you can see, today we are going to completely focus on roles of stakeholders in strategic management. Now, before moving towards our today's session, let us first memorize what we have learned in our previous sessions. In our last session, we have studied about stakeholders. So, who are these stakeholders? A stakeholder can be anyone who has a stake in the business. It might be a person, an organization, social group, or a society at large. Along with studying the concept of stakeholders, we also studied about different types of stakeholders in our last session. So, as you all know, there are two types of stakeholders: internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders are the people who are associated with the organization internally. These are employees, managers, owners, etc. Talking about the external stakeholders, they are suppliers, society, government, creditors, shareholders, customers, etc. Now, let us move towards our main point, that is, roles of stakeholders in strategic management. Now, let us see what are the various roles played by stakeholders in strategic management. So, to start with, the first one, it is voting and decision making. So, looking towards the title, you might have got an idea that this might be a role played by internal stakeholders. Then, yes, you are absolutely right. This is a role played by internal stakeholders, as voting and decision making is done by higher authority and board of directors. Stakeholders have a very important role to play through voting on various issues relating to the organizational strategy. Stakeholders can be involved in decision making process and voting, which is conducted annually or during a meeting. The stakeholders can intervene in selecting the management of the organization, which is responsible for designing the strategy of the company and in decision making. Also, if the organization is not performing satisfactorily, then stakeholders such as board of directors can intervene to make necessary changes and formulate appropriate strategies. So, in this way, various roles are being played by internal stakeholders which are on higher authority for voting and decision making in strategic management. Now, let us move to the second role, that is, managing and supervising positions in the organization. Now, let's see what comes under it. Stakeholders may also be important members of management who influence the firm's actions and policies through their work. Due to this, they may be also directly answerable to the director and CEO of the organization. The managers of different departments can be the stakeholders too, as they affect the performance of a particular department in the organization. By their actions, they may also be responsible for recruiting people in the department, giving them a proper training, and keeping the department up to date with any changes in the organization's policy. If the managers of the department do not inform their departmental employees regarding any changes in the organization's policies or does not keep updating their departmental employees, it might cost at a major level to the organizations due to unawareness of the employees towards the various actions that are being taken in the organization. Now, coming to the third point, that is responsibilities for society and environment. As it is clear from the title that it is from the perspective of society and environment. Firms exist in a society and hence have a social responsibility. Stakeholders need to ensure that the organization's strategies, policies, and actions are not harming to the interests of society and the environment. This can take many forms. The stakeholders may decide to switch over to an alternative source of energy if the existing one is depleted. They may also choose to donate money to a cause for a country which is in need. One of the prime motive of any business should be to work for the public interest along with its personal interest, and it is the social responsibility of the stakeholders to ensure that all the actions of the firm give priority to the interests of society before their own personal gains. So, here also the stakeholder has an important role to clearly identify that the actions taken by the organizations are beneficial towards society and environment and not harming anyone in the society and the environment. Stakeholders actively participate in the planning process of any project. The various activities of project planning, identifying the objectives of project, specifying and allocating resources, deciding the methods to carry out the project, analyzing critical events, and finally evaluating are the various activities undertaken by the stakeholders. The reason the participation of stakeholders in the project planning ensures the transparency in the project and its process. This helps the organization for smooth functioning. With this, I conclude today's session and hope that you all have understood the various roles of stakeholders in strategic management. Thank you.